The inspiration and the reason why I didn't put a price is in the attitude of giving back to the society, giving back socially to fellow women like me, especially women that should be raised normally by leaders who are already established and experienced. So the whole idea is to not just to do it alone actually, but to come together with my fellow C-suite female executives who are trailblazers and successful in their individual industries, to come together with me and provide practical guidance, meaningful mentorship, and network opportunities for these women, where we look at their areas of challenges, the barriers that they're facing in their individual careers, business or leadership roles, and make bring rather solutions to help them become relevant and have impact in what they're doing. I like to see fellow women succeed. I believe that when one woman succeeds, all other women have succeeded.
What is wisdom? Wisdom is that you receive information and you actually did something about it. A wise person acts. Now, the reason people receive information and they do not act is because they lack the middle, which is called understanding. And it is God that gives men understanding. That is why we're going to pray, so that when the panelists are speaking, when Donna is speaking, they are releasing information, but you're not just receiving information, you are receiving understanding, so that you can do and then you become productive and fruitful. And we're going to pray and bless the visionary, and the hand of God will come upon her, and then your lives will be transformed because you came for this session. Are we in agreement? Is that good?
Definitely, and we're here to shift mindsets, we're here to build momentum and create the kind of connections that would move you from having just an idea to being impactful. And this will happen fast. We'll do it together, most importantly. My name is Konyisola Olukoya.
And my name is Amy Udofa, a radio presenter and OAP of City 105 FM. And it's a great honor that we welcome you to Salute 2025, the very first edition in one-day mentorship experience with the esteemed Adedoja Allen. Please a round of applause for yourselves. You've been amazing sitting down here.
We're here to ignite and inspire ourselves. We're here to connect. We're here to learn. I mean, when you were using those words, you're here to unlearn, relearn, learn, and all of that. A mindset shift. So, like Reverend Reeds prayed, open your hearts, open your mind to take in fresh ideas, fresh learnings from the panelists and the speakers that are here. So, like I said, we will inspire you, we will encourage you with our personal stories, our mistakes, our failures, our wins, our challenges, our obstacles, okay? We didn't get here by everything being hunky-dory. We had our challenges. There were real life challenges, there were setbacks, but they were not insurmountable. No successful woman without a story. People have planned their lives 5-10 years ahead of today. How do I keep reinventing myself? Self-improvement. What do you do for self-improvement? What is one area where your industry or job has changed in the last, say, 5 years? And what have you done about it? What is that one skill or expertise area that you want to involve in the next phase of your career? But my eyes have always been on the bottom line. So there are many business people here. There are many. Do we have people that are in actual career, or is everybody just an entrepreneur, self-employed? Do we have people that are working proper 9 to 5? Why is a business in existence? It's to make profit, is to make money. That should always be your goal. Cash is no longer king. Cash is emperor. So whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are an employee, 9 to 5, whether you're working for Zenith, whether you're working for Skybank, whether you're working for Sterling, whether you're working for FCNB or CTFM or wherever you're working for, your contribution adds to the bottom line of that organization, no matter what you do. So don't look at it that it's the responsibility of just the chief executive officer or the business person, development, or the sales and marketing person. You have a responsibility in ensuring that that organization survives.
Women need to be more daring. That's the truth. We second guess ourselves too much. So the conversation we have with ourselves need to improve. When there's an opportunity, when there's a challenge, what is it that we say to ourselves? All right? That voice in our heads need to be corrected. And I always say to people that you don't need to see everything. You just need to see enough. And when you've seen enough, just make up your mind, you know what? I'm going to go in for it. So women just need to, yes, I know that the move of women, has really come a long way and it's done a lot of good. But I still see that gap where we are second guessing ourselves. We need to tone that down and we need to take a leap. We need to be daring like the men. Men are super daring and I love them for that.
This now data, 85% of decision makers say a strong personal brand influences promotions, partnerships, and funding decisions. One, influences what? Promotions. It influences partnerships. Who do you work with? Who do you marry? Please, let me put an hands together for her again. So, true story, I happen to be one of those that struggle with mathematics. I actually got my 5 credits in SS2. Only maths. I had to now do SS3. I did GC, I had 5, SS3, I had to do it. Now had to, just because of mathematics. So when somebody did maths, first and foremost, I salute. Then when they now do it, I'm about to get first class, guys. Take your flowers, ma'am. Well done. In UI. Well done. So it influences promotions, partnerships, and funding decisions. How many of us need funding here? There are some that don't. I can come and collect from you. Your brand is important, and I'm going to run through now.
Welcome, my ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on board. Thank you. So I would like to ask each of you to speak to us on what does legacy mean to you as a leader, as a woman. What does legacy mean to you?
Good afternoon, everyone. I think when I think about legacy, broadly, when you want to define legacy, you would say that legacy is living the world a little bit better than you found it. And I'm a fan of watching criminal shows, so I watch investigative shows. And when I think about legacy deeply within myself, I think about when you have a crime scene and you look at the footprints, and what investigators look at. They'll look at the footprints, they'll look at someone's fingerprints, they'll look at their DNA, they'll look at evidence that they've left behind, blood and everything. So if I think about legacy, even as a person, even before we think about women, I just think about it as leaving your footprints somewhere. And it's not just about Foluke has been here and you see her footprints, but also that Foluke has footprints that someone can step in and even make something of themselves and even be better. So I don't just want to leave my footprint on earth as a legacy to say that, just to make myself for fame, to say that, oh, Foluke has been here, but that when someone steps into my footprints, I want them to know that they can be something and they can even do more than I've done. When I'm leaving my fingerprint somewhere, so I don't only want to leave my fingerprint in places, I want to leave my fingerprints in people's lives. So all the while that I've worked in organizations I've worked in, and if you've seen my bio, I've been able to leave my fingerprints in everyone's life, just being able to know that I impacted them in some way, not being self-centered in saying that because they're working for me, what they need to achieve is to achieve it in that organization, or they're working with me as colleagues, but also what are you going to be like in future as a person? What do you really want to be? So that's why I feel like it's a legacy. Also leaving my DNA somewhere so that they can know everyone's fingerprint is unique, everyone's DNA is unique. What is my unique imprint that I've been born with? What did God call me to be? And you know, everyone has come. There's a Bible verse that talks about, and which is my Bible verse for the year. And I know a lot of people have spoken about the Bible, and as Mrs. Allen has spoken, a lot of us here are nothing without God. And just thinking about the Bible verse that I anchored my year on is Psalm 40 verse 7 to 8, which says, "Lo, I come in the volume of the book that was written about me. I desire to do your will, O Lord, and I delight to know your law." And that is my Bible verse for the year. And that's what I do every year, every day. I want to know that what has God written for me? What has been written long before I was born? And what am I doing on earth to be able to walk in that plan? So that's why I think it's a legacy, just living the world better than I came into it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Kolike.
Who was here? How was she here? Because we're talking about legacy in terms of leadership. So it's not just about what a leader does, but how the leader does it. So it's not just who you're leading, how are you leading? I think legacy is a story that people tell about you when you're not in the room, right? Because people know it's not about, oh, and it's good to make numbers, those things are important. But what I think about is when I see someone that may have been part of my team, or I may have influence, because leadership is not just about somebody working with you or for you, you're influencing people. The conversation we'll be having is not about the bottom line, it's about real life issues, real life, how you impacted that person as a human being. So I think it's important to first of all see people as humans, not resources. I'm saying that within the culture of the organization, because sometimes we just think is, oh, this person does this person does that. The version of you that comes into the office or your business is just a small part of who you really are, the entirety of you. Because I think every human being is so vast, so robust, there's so much we can do. So when I think of legacy, what comes to my mind is, how am I impacting this person, not just for now, but for the person's future, for the version of that person that they don't even know exists yet. Because as a leader, I think really part of our responsibilities is not just to see where someone is, but where they could be, and to help them get there. That's the benefit you have of having walked the journey, because you've been down the path and you can help guide someone along the way. So what is legacy to me is understanding that everything has a shelf life, it's going to come to an end at some point. But during the journey, to do the best you can, to change lives, make an impact, as you said, and it has to be something that's intentionally done, making sure everywhere is better for you being there. So when someone goes into any organization, it's not just about the organization, in the input of someone's heart, someone can say, okay, Rolai was here. That's legacy.
Legacy is creating lasting impact. And of course, the kind of influence that you have in the various organizations or institutions that you work for, or even the people that have worked with you. Of course, they've said a lot about what legacy is, and of course, I wouldn't like to repeat what they've said. But to me, it's building such that when you're no longer there, the people who come after you, without even knowing you or meeting you, would admit that someone has actually impacted this place. That for me is legacy. I go into spaces where I meet people who haven't met before, and they run and they introduce themselves to me. I'm like, okay, I don't even know you. And they say, oh, I joined this bank so time after you have left and heard so much about you. I think that for me is legacy. Again, I tell leadership people, I tell people that the people that you lead, they're as good as who you are. So my belief is that as a leader, the kind of impact, the legacy that you leave is having to see people who are coming after you, the people you're mentoring, seeing and adopting the values that you have put into them. And that's why I say a lot of times some of us were lucky that we met and worked with great leaders who impacted us positively. So the kind of impact you as a leader has is based on your values. So if you're the one that is, of course, passing down the negative values to people who, of course, are working with you, they then take on those values, and of course, the world become a worse place.
Eh? Yes, don't. I'm telling you now. I don't know how to scream it. Don't assume that you're a person of character. Right now, you're a person of character. Have you ever gone anywhere and people told you, I'm not a person of character, I lack integrity? You know, if you check here, how many people have integrity here? Raise your hand. Raise your hand now. Are you afraid? Yes, everybody is a person of integrity till the matter truly matters. So, do yourself a favor, confront yourself and define your price.
So if I'm in a precarious situation, am I going to do something that is beneath my value? Am I going to go out of character to survive as a woman? Or am I going to walk away?
No. But it was clear to me that I had to make a decision. You have to make a choice. At different points in your life, you will have to make a choice. I had to make that choice when I was looking for a job. Some I couldn't go that way. I had to make the choice when you need promotion in the office. You have to make that choice at every junction. Like at every junction, there's time to make a choice. Particularly because at that time you had, in corporate world, you had more men than women. Also, because you had a lot of men, you also then have people that you're genuinely friends with. Like I said, when we joined, we were 21, only 3 of us were female, but we were genuinely friends with every other, the males. But then when your friend, somebody who you thought was a friend, starts to do what they did to her, apart from discouragement, disappointment, you sometimes wonder what to do. But like I said, it's all over. What should you do? Or what did I do? A few things that helped me. One was to have the right friends. If you had associates, friends, engagement, people who will tell you it doesn't matter, you're likely going to fall. But if you have people who hold you accountable, then it will help you stay. Like she said, everybody is human. At a point, in fact, just the fact that sometimes if you are coming from a family or a background where nobody considers you anything, and then you show up and the man is paying you attention, you like to feel, finally, somebody sees me, somebody appreciates me, somebody likes me, I'm beautiful. So that aspect also comes up. However, if you have friends, if you have the right friends, so that's why the people you associate yourself with, they are so important to your journey, that they can help you, strengthen you. When you are shaken, they can help you. And I had friends at the time, and one of the people who joined my firm with me was a very close friend. We became flatmates, and she was that anchor for me. When everything failed and I was distraught, I would speak to her. So find somebody you can talk to, somebody you can trust. You can't do this alone. You can never do it alone. It will be difficult. Maybe you can, but it will be very, very difficult.
So I was with my friend and he invited me to an hotel. That one is one. Two, second, he invited me to an hotel. And he was like, I should come and help him out, that he's feeling aroused and stuff like that. I was like, how would I do that? Why can't you go and call and I just do that for you? That he's going to give me 10,000. I was like, it's not possible now. He almost screamed to me. I was like, I can't do that, or I can't do that. I can't, as in, I stood my ground. Up to the left, I was even shouting that, help, bring peace. The farmer was like, what's happening? I said, this man, I told him that I don't want to do what I want, and he invited me, but I don't know that that's what he wanted to do. So I left. So how can we handle that kind of situation? How can we
You know, because all of us, we can do this thing, especially as she has said, one our friend. Okay? So, you know, already, I don't know where you are mentally. For me, already, I will be suspicious. So even if I go to the extent of following you into that room, I know where I will be and where the door will be. And when I've entered that room, I've looked for a weapon. No, I'm telling you, so that you know, wickedness is increasing, men are getting there. So you have to be ready. The world is not meals and booze anymore. We have to just say the truth. It's not meals and booze anymore. So with every single person, you have to have a certain guard that you raise. You raise this thing about the man being your friend. Azuka too has talked about her friend. Because we could have said, why did Azuka agree to sleep in the middle? She should have gone. Honestly, I mean, this is my body. And I recognize it because I have a group of friends. They are mostly male. You know, someone came and was talking something, and because I was there, the person was now trying to shape his mouth and change what he was saying. And they said, oh, is it because of it? Did you want to? I bet now a guy be this. Talk, Joe. Okay, let me tell you this story. I tell you, she even knows it.
My question is, okay, let me start from just explaining why I have this question. So I have a fashion business where I have a hostel where my staff stays. And I know this is a female gathering, but there was an issue between two of my staffs that I know. And he was complaining that one of the male was sexually harassing him at night. And I felt that argument came because they both had an issue, because I had a feeling that it was happening based on consent. Then it happened because he wasn't happy with him, it came to light. So I eventually came up with a rule that no staff should have any sexual relationship or any relations at all. That if anybody wants to do that, someone has to leave for the other. So I don't know, did I do the right thing? Was I supposed to fire them or fire one person and leave the other based on what the story was? So if things like that happen between my staff, am I supposed to send them away, or how am I supposed to deal with it?
Now, if your business is faith-based, it is your prerogative to say, in this my business, I don't allow a certain kind of behavior. And so you can call it out and you can clearly say, I'm a Christian and I don't accept this. That is your right as a business owner. But you also lay down a rule, which is a rule that even between male and female, you can also say, we don't want people having sexual engagement or romantic relationship. So if you want to have a romantic relationship, and most offices have that, one person will have to leave. That's almost like a standard today. But in terms of the fact that this is a gay situation, you have to make a decision based on your principles. I mean, it could be lesbians, yeah? So you must be able to also apply the same thing. Like I said, they are both adults, they have a right to their sexual orientation, but they shouldn't bring their spirits into your business. So you can decide that you don't want any of this in your business and you call it out and you keep it away.
You could have waited to speak to her or one of them. Do you understand? After not me. I don't know about them now. Do you understand? You were talking about women, not men. Do you understand? Because whether we like it or not, it will take us time to accept this story that I'm saying in this country. You know, I'm even struggling with my spirit to stop, like you know, they gave us a name that was homophobic or whatever, you know, which I totally disagree. You cannot force me to like it I don't like, what I'm not used to, what I'm not trained to understand. I'm not used, I don't understand, I'm struggling. So, I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask questions, but I just feel that we're talking about women, real women, biological women, do you understand? And the sexual harassment they're going through. So I feel that this question has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. That's one. You could have also approached Doja. There's a deaconess, she's a pastor or whatever. Not bringing it to take our time on important issue about women that are sexually harassed, not men that are.
harassing themselves sexually. They are both men, they should fight now. They should fight each other. Whoever wins, you know the person that is the real man there. You know?
In my field as a woman, especially being as a business person, you need to be strong. One, the Nigerian factor, running a business in Nigeria will shake you. So as a woman, you need to be strong. Running a business, there are so many things that really would be against you. Like I have already said, the Nigerian factor, finance, marketing, getting new customers, selling and making profits, it will shake you. So you really have to be strong. You need to know your game tight. That's what I have to say.
What does that mean? Where you are now, what is your plan? Your personal development plan, maybe the next 6 months or 1 year. Some of us, we are in where we are now just to keep body and soul together, while you are still on the way to your journey. You must not lose sight of your personal global development plan. So, I was raised by my grandmother. My mom and my dad, they are business people gallivanting all over the world. But on my 50th birthday, I'm not sure you remember, the service at City of Daily, I revealed a secret that my dad does not even know. It was on my 50th birthday in 2020, December, that I carried the microphone in the front of the church and I told the church that I don't know why I had to share, because I had a whole lot of banquets and all of that in attendance, and I told them, what has shaped my life has been those experiences that you can consider a setback. While my parents are gallivanting all over the place, running business and just generally having fun, but my grandmother kept us. So I've always known my grandmother's house as my house. Though my father has properties everywhere. But there was a time, she's a big time businesswoman. I was raised at Ilesha. I'm an Ilesha girl.
Women supporting women. Women helping each other to be great. That's what came to mind. Today I learned that you can give back to the society. It doesn't have to be a fanfare. It's a deliberate program. Be intentional to impact other women, to lift them up to the next level. And I found that quite heartwarming. I said to them, pay attention to the nugget that is being shared on this platform. It's not about selfies, it's about paying attention and owning your journey, knowing that you're unique. So two people, your journey may not be the same. And plan to come back next year to share testimonies of how you have applied what you have learned.
So that's what I wanted women to take away, and also to know that they're unstoppable no matter the challenges. People talked about challenges, financial challenges, different challenges in the session, and we made sure that we drummed it home to them and said, don't worry about challenges, don't let challenges be a barrier. There's no barrier. There's no female successful leader that does not have a story, a challenging story or barriers to cross. There's no barrier that is not insurmountable. Everything can be accomplished.
Sure hope you enjoyed this video. For more entertaining video content such as behind the scenes of music videos and movies, music concerts, premieres, interviews, and exclusive gists, subscribe now to our YouTube channel Goldmynetv and be unleashed into a world of super excitement.